Hi everybody, it's Moosie Day. Cutie Moosie. That's all I've been thinking in my head all day today is here, Moosie. I had a book, I think it was definitely a Robert Munsch book, and it was about a moose. I think maybe it was just called Moose. And I can just hear it in my head. Here, Moosie. Hi everybody. Hello on this gloomy Essex County day today. How's the weather in your neck of the woods, friends? Here from Colchester, Julie's unreliable internet and cute creatures. Brought to you by all these things. So make sure you say hi if you're gonna tune in to paint with me today. This beautiful, cutie, moosey, 3-color painting. Let me know if you're here and watching. I have been spending countless hours on my computer just trying to figure out some new stuff. Oh, Marie, that's nice. It's nice that it's nice and beautiful there. I'm really happy for you. Awesome. Hi, Nancy. Oh, thanks for showing up and thanks for saying hi. It makes a big difference when I know you guys are actually tuning in. So thank you for that. Hope everybody's having a glorious day. At least it's Friday. Friday. Yeah. Just have a little chatterooski. All right, Elise. I'm glad you're ready. I apologize, everybody, that I kind of bowed out yesterday. It was a very last-minute decision. It was actually mine and my husband's 3rd wedding anniversary yesterday, and I didn't really take that into consideration when I booked the date, which happens quite a bit. So I apologize for anybody who was ready to paint yesterday, but Fridays are a better paint day anyway, right? Getting close to the weekend. Oh, that's cool, Carrie. If you're not home, definitely try it later if you can. Yeah, we'll see how this guy goes. Like I said, he's only 3 colors, but we do some color mixing today. So that's probably the most challenging part of these paintings is mixing up the gray. For some reason, it can be tricky. Black and white. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? So anyways, I was apologizing for not showing up on time yesterday and making it today instead. Thanks, Marie. So yeah, me and Jay have been together for many years, but we had never had an anniversary day. We just kind of like, we tried several times to like make an anniversary day, but it never stuck. Oh my God, what kind of day is this? It never stuck until we got married. So now we actually have a day, May 21st. It was a long weekend Sunday when we got married. So saving this for another day, looking forward to the moose. That's cool. All good, Anne-Marie. That's what I'm here for. Yes, absolutely. Nancy, you can actually, a better way to do it would probably to go to the post, but here, I'll do it anyways. Here we go. Screenshot it. Wait, let me just get it in there. Okay, go. Okay, I'm gonna start to make him talk. Hello, I'm Mr. Moose. I'm gonna be painted by you today. That's how mooses talk, right? Oh man, I'm not losing it. It's fine. But yeah, I have some pretty exciting things in the works behind the scenes here in Colchester. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Putting together some membership details, and it's going to be super sweet. Oh, thanks, Nancy. I don't rock. The moose rocks. I wanna rock Dun, 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 dun. I wanna rock, rock. Dun, 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 dun. You know what to say. I wanna say. Go. No, go, go. Anyways, so when I was in high school and past high school, I was very much into hard rock and heavy metal. And I am always singing some sort of classic rock songs. I can't help it. It's like embedded in my DNA. I can't stop. Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's I'm gonna be launching it real quick, but there's a lot of behind the scenes action that's happening right now. I'm doing things that I have never done before, like changing website names and fixing website stuff, and like honestly, even talking about it hurts my brain. It is like so not in my wheelhouse. So Julie's brain has been on fire for like the last week figuring things out. And like every day I make a little bit of progress, and I just keep kind of clawing away at it, trying to make it work. And I'm realizing that I don't have a clock. Okay. No, I hope that didn't cut me off. So, and I really hope that the internet's a lot better than the last time I was doing this. We have had major issues since the quarantine with our interneting. So I always have to apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, I am going to use Zoom. Nancy, I am going to do that. My kids are so excited about the moose. Okay, perfect, Amy. Just make sure that you guys send me your pictures when you're done, your moosies. Because honestly, nothing lights me up more than teaching you guys how to paint super cute creatures and then seeing your creatures the next day. It's honestly like, I've never felt such joy. Besides, no, you so smart. But yeah, like honestly, especially the creatures, like the wonkier the creature, the cuter it is. So I'm just like, I'm over the moon when people are sending me their cute creature paintings. It's so good. All right. So I know there's not going to be a lot of people on today, but if you didn't say hi yet, make sure you say hello while we're just waiting for the masses to roll in. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm just like on my phone and things are not going right at all. Okay, perfect. All right, we are going to get started in just a few minutes. So just make sure you guys have your stuff set up. I have my cup of water here, red Solo cup. I have a couple different paintbrushes. So I have my big fat brush, I have my medium flat brush, and I have a long skinny brush. And you don't need a long skinny brush, you just need some sort of brush that will be able to make lines around the moose. And to be honest, this brush would work perfectly fine to do that. So, you know, use whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you have. And obviously this would work really well on like cardboard or wood or paper or anything fun like that. Last time when we were doing, what was the last one? The raccoon? Yes. Raccoon, we drew him on first, but we're not going to do that with this guy. We're actually just going to go straight to the trees, and then we're going to put the paint straight on there. We're going to be super brave about it. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can always draw out the moose first if you want. But we are going to go straight to paint today, which I planned on doing last time. But my daughter was really sick and she wasn't feeling good, and I was late and I had to make sure I was there for her. So, yay! Hi, Charlotte. I'm glad you're here. That's so awesome. We are just getting ready. I'm just saying how I'm just getting my stuff set up here. So I have a nice clean plate and 3 colors. Super simple today. I have black and white and brown. Black, white, and brown. Pretty simple. The not simple part is that we will be mixing a lot of the colors today. I may as well just get them on there. So I'm just gonna I'll put the brown in one corner, and then I'll put the white in the other corner and the black in the other corner, and then we can kind of take from each pile and mix in the middle. Let's see here, some black. Oh, love that sound. Love it. Okay. All right, we're just gonna get started in the next 5 minutes. Got quite the runway today. We might start in 2 minutes. We could totally get started in 2 minutes. If you are ready to start, why don't you give me a thumbs up? And if I get a bunch of thumbs ups, then we'll just get started. And anybody who chimes in at the right time or a little late, then they can just catch up. And if you didn't say hi, say hi. Yeah, Kathy, hi. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for saying hi. All right, Jim, that's what I like to hear. Your creatures have been super solid, so that's exciting. I thoroughly enjoyed your trash panda. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. Thumbs up. And okay, so I think, let me just see here. Okay. Yeah, pretty simple. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, nice. I'm glad you made it. That's awesome. Hi, Tanya. Just watching today. I have a head out in a bit. Yeah, no problem, Marie. That's why I'm here. And that's why they're all recorded. All good. Okay. So I think I'm just going to start a little early today. I'll just apologize one more time for my internet. I really hope it doesn't cut out. Last time I was on, it was cutting out like crazy. So I just apologize for that. It's really not fun having very unreliable internet. I hear my husband swear a lot. So he doesn't do well with bad internet. Me, on the other hand, I'm a lot more breezy. So to get started, I am going to use my big brush for all of the trees. And if you don't have a big brush, that's cool. Just use a little brush or use whatever brush you're most comfortable with. All good. And we're going to be mixing some brown and white together. So, and you can make it as light or as dark. You could even use straight brown if you want. You don't have to mix it. What I was just trying to do with my characters is I was trying to just create a theme so that they kind of matched. So you could have the raccoon on one side, this guy on the other side with the white background, and then your fox in the middle maybe. Might be a good idea. But anyways, so for this one, I'm just going to grab my palette, and I have brown on one side and white on the other. And from my experience, the darker color always takes over way more, especially if you are using black and white. So I always start with a big scoop of white. Okay, so big scoop of white, put it in the center of the brown and the white there, and then I'll take just a little scoop of brown to start. So big scoop of white, little scoop of brown, and I'll just make a little area in the middle. So at any time, I can always take from one pile, go to the center, and mix it in. And even if it's not perfectly mixed, I don't really care. You have to go back and forth on your canvas so many times anyways that it ends up just all mixing in, and they're trees, so it's kind of cool to have a little bit of streaky effect too. And I'm kind of just plopping all over the place. So I have now taken 3 scoops of brown and mixed it with my white. So I'm not sure my rule of thumb is working for the brown. But you know what? Just mix it until you like that color. And I just like a nice light brown taupey color. All right, so Mix it in there. Put my palette down. And let's get this party started. Okay. So we're just going to be making random trees in the background. I just like to start with one spot. I'm just going to be right over here, and you can put your, if you put your brush straight on the canvas and pull, it's going to be fat. If you put it on its side, it's going to be a little skinnier. And I'm just going to start with it on its side, and I'm going to pull down. Ta-da! And you have a tree. Magical. A magical tree. But I'm just going to go up and down a few times, and this is a really good way to start any painting because you're just finding your flow, working up and down, and just remember, I've never seen a tree that's perfectly straight, so I kind of just roll with that concept that the wonkier the tree, the cooler it looks. So just wonk out those trees as much as you can. Now, I like to start with the trunk, and then once I'm pretty happy with the results, I'll fill in those little canvas holes wherever it kind of gets dry. I mean, I have a decent amount of paint on my brush, so that helps fill in those holes. If you had to add a little bit of water to your brush and dab it on your plate first, that will also help fill in a lot of these areas. Anyways, so I'm going to come up and then I'm going to plop out a branch right here. Ploop. So simple. Just ploop. That way. Ooh. Oh. And see, it just gets wider and wider the more you work on it. And then I'm going to plop up a branch up here. Ploop. And I just go back and forth a few times just to kind of get off any excess blobs that are happening there. I want my paint to dry relatively quickly, so spreading it out really helps when you do that, especially with acrylic paints. It's fine to put it on thick, but since we're going to be putting stuff right over top of our painting, then it's good to kind of spread it out as thin as it can go, and then it dries super fast, and then we can put our Moosie right over top. All right, I'm just going to keep cruising along and make another tree. So this one's going to be a little fatter. I'm going to just start right on my canvas, super fat, and push and pull up and down and up and down and up and down. And I'm just going to show you, so I'm going to get a little bit closer just for a second here. And you can kind of see I have some dry areas here. Like where it didn't totally fill in the canvas when I used my paint on there. So I can just keep going back and forth over it. Or I can give my brush a tiny little dip in my water, tiny little dip on my palette. I loosen up that paint that's on there. And then that also helps just fill it right in. So simple. Dab in the cup. Dab on your plate, fill in the dry spots. All right. Okay, so trees are great to start with because they're just like, they're so unique to each individual, and it's a really like, what's the word I want to say? Non-committal way to start a paint. Nice. And because it can be so nerve-wracking when you first start a painting, right? I pretty much say the same thing every time, but honestly, guys, like, I've been painting for so long, and I'm always nervous when I start a painting. Like, I'm nervous today when I'm starting this painting, and I've painted it before. But I feel like once you get started, just like anything, once you get started, it just makes things so much easier. It's just like a metaphor for life, When you start something, at least it's started, and it's all about momentum. So once that momentum gets going, then it's so much easier to continue the trend. And I really encourage you to create your own trees. They don't have to look exactly like mine. They don't have to have the same branches as mine. You can put more or less, whatever you want, and it's gonna look amazing. I'm just gonna put one guy right over here. And you know what I also like to do? I like to make noises. So I'm just gonna do a sure. That was an interesting noise that came out today. All right. That's a new one. All right. So just, you can see I just go back and forth and just move that paint back and forth. And this is a really good way to practice, because when you're making paintings with me, I often say, try and go from one side of the canvas all the way to the other, like whenever we're making sunsets or skies or water. And the reason I say that is because when you make little strokes, you can see all these like paintbrush strokes inside your paint, which work for some things, and it could actually work for the tree. But if you make nice long strokes back and forth, then you get these really nice long paint lines. And there's no little weird brush crevices or things like that, you know? Just keep making your branches. And I'm going to make a nice long guy right here. It's going to have a nice big V in it. Take over that other branch. And just a little bit up here, maybe a little bit there. And if I was Bob Ross, I'd be like, heck, you just put a little squirrel in that tree. Any kind of creature you want. And that's why Bob is my hero. Because he had squirrel friends. And I really wish I did too. Even though I have to say the squirrels in our neighborhood are mildly aggressive. They're very used to humans, and they really like to eat garbage. So you gotta watch out for the squirrels in our hood. Okay. All right. And our moose is going to go in this area here, so I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to put too many trees on there. While you guys are kind of finishing up, I'll just do a little once over. I'm just going to fix up some of my lines. So whenever I'm fixing up any lines on the side of my tree, I put my brush right on its side, and I just kind of cruise along the edge. So I had put a little extra paint on there. And I just cruise along and fill in those little gaps. And that's how you just clean up those edges. Adding a tiny little bit of water to your brush and then dabbing it on your palette really helps clean up those edges. I can't express that enough. If you ever do that, if you ever dip your brush in the water, always hit your palette first. Don't go straight to the canvas, because that's when you get runs of paint down your canvas, and that's when you cry, and I don't want any crying in painting. There's no crying in painting, okay? So, like I said, our moose is going to go here, but our trees are pseudo, I guess you can they're kind of like birch trees-ish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long skinny brush, and whatever liner brush you have, just any kind of skinny, any brush with a point on it. And you can even use like the corner of a flat brush if you want. How would I do that? I'll use this brush to start. So I put a little water on there. I'm just going to put a little bit of white on my brush. And then really randomly, and not overdo it, I'm just going to put a few little notches in the tree. So just a couple little swoops. Every once in a while I'll make a little X. So this is with my skinny brush. Not overdoing it, just a little bit there. And maybe a guy here. A little bit in the branch there. But I could take my medium flat brush as well. So I have this guy going on now. And I can just make a couple notches like that too. So just having some paint on my brush, and then I put it on its side, and I can just do a couple little swoops like that. I can still make little X's. Just super versatile. There's so many different ways to do this, so don't think you can't if you don't have the exact same things as I do. You can totally do it. Everything is figure-outable. Even if you had to take like a toothpick or a Q-tip or use your fingernail or use the bottom of a pen, there's always a way to do things. With everything. All right. And it's all come together. And I'm just going to keep using that flat brush because it's fun. Fun, fun, fun. And we'll have fun, fun, fun till the daddy did the tea right away. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Up, up, up. Doesn't have to be these exact dots. You can even put little dots if you want. They don't even have to be long lines. They can just be little tiny little notches. And this is the kind of stuff, these little random I wanted to say insecurities, but just differences in your painting. That's what gives it character, and that's what makes it your unique painting. So go wild. Make your notches however you want to do that. When you guys are done making your trees, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. I'm just washing off my brush right now. And I am going to use my big brush to start putting on the Moosie. So, if you want to do that, let me know. Let me know how things are going. Oh, thank you, Nicole. You're doing a great job too. Aw, he's so cute. I love how they're all like peeking out the side. Are you there? So, like I said, just give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready to move forward, and we can start mixing some gray. And actually, it's kind of like a weird gray with like a little bit of brown. I like to add to it. It gives it kind of like a cool color. It's not totally gray. It's a little different. Give you guys a few seconds. I'll go back to the painting here. Here you go. Let me know. Cool. Thumbs up from Nicole. All right. I see a blue thumb. I wish I could see your faces. That's always nice. And then I could see you just go like, yay. Thumbs up. All right, Christy, thumbs up. Perfect. Thumbs up. Thanks, Ashley. That's almost as good as a picture. Just write the full words. I like it. Okay. So we are going to be mixing gray next. So make sure you have your black and your white on your palette. So the way I like to do things is we're just going to make big blobs of color and shape our mousse, which they're very simple shapes. And then we will put his little ears on, and then we can outline him after. Okay? So to mix the gray, now for sure this is the rule of thumb that I want you to use. So I got my white and my black right at the top of my palette here. I'm going to take a big scoop of white and get it in the middle there, and just little bits of black at a time. So I got a little corner of black there, mix it in. Black really likes to take over a lot. Okay, so I took one big scoop of white to like a little scoop of black, and I just mix it in the middle. And the way I do things, just like the trees, you know, when you're going back and forth, it kind of, you get some mixing happening. Yes, Cheryl, you can draw the moose on. So I'm going to put it straight on with the paint. But if you want to make the same shape with just the pencil first, you can totally do that. If you feel like it'll be easier. But check this out. So I have my gray here, and I'm just going to take a little bit of brown. So I got this little corner of brown here. I'm going to mix that in too. And it makes this really kind of odd color of gray, but I like it, and I like it for the moose. So, you know, make the moose whatever color you like. If you want it to be a little bit darker, that's cool. And I just kind of bring the paints together and I mix them up in the center as well as I can. Not overly mixing, all good. And so a good way to start this is just kind of remember that his little body's going to be right here. So we can actually just start there. So right at the bottom, I'm going to put one little line here. And then his little body's going to come over right here. So let me just get that centered again. A little closer. And I'm just using my big brush, but honestly, guys, use whatever brush you are the most comfortable with. It does not have to be a big brush. Now, when I'm doing this, I take my brush and I flatten it out on my palette. I go back and forth. So when it's nice and flat when I look at it from the side, and I can just make my lines here. So I got a line there and a line there. And they're not too big. It's all good, but this is a good way to map out where his nose is going to be. And I'm going to put his nose, you can even start at the bottom, just so you can connect these two areas. So there's a little swoop at the bottom, and then his nose comes up on the side, and it's a little flatter on the sides. It doesn't go all the way around. Now, these areas are going to be filled in with another color here, but it's nice to have these lines. So I'm just going to bring this around here, and you can see I'm just going one little step at a time. And just remember my rule of thumb. It's always good to start small. You can always make things bigger, okay? Like his body is kind of a little bit small there, but that's okay. And since everything's going to be painted on first and we're going to outline second, that really helps if something's a little bit misshapen to go back and reshape it as well, because we don't outline until very, very last. Okay, so we put our two little lines here. I have our big nose, and then he's kind of got like a flat cone head. So I'm just going to go up a little bit this way, shoot, that way, and shoot. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go all the way over just like this. And I'm going to flatten out his head a little bit up here. So he's got two sides to his head here, one going this way, a little bit more of a flat head here, and then he'll come back down this way and connect to his nose. And then his two little ears just pop right out the sides, so two little nubbins right there and right here. And you can see, like, when I'm using my big brush, I can do these things in like one fell swoop. So that's why I like using it, because I can just do one twirl whirl, maybe two, one each way, fills that in, and then I can just fill his face in here. So I'm just coloring him in. Now, when I color him in, that's really, really when I can see his proportions. So you can always fatten him up on the sides, kind of get him a little even. And that's the best part about these silhouetted areas, is that you can like just keep adding to the sides if you need to. Now you can see here, so I colored them in, but I always like to give a nice little once over with my brush so that all the brush strokes are always going in the same direction. So I go one side all the way to the other, just to make it nice and even. No weird brush strokies in there. And we can always go over this after if there's any wonky areas. Oh, my dog's going to be crying, so I apologize for that. Okay. So, like I said, this is a really good opportunity, and you can totally change things up afterwards. So don't worry too much about what it looks like at first. We're just going to keep going, and then on the little oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Why do I keep wanting to say insecurities? Oh man, I don't even know what's going on. Okay, so just coloring in his body. Just gonna keep going. Insecurities. Oh. Not indiscriminate. They're just little. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm no scholar, that's for sure. I swear my 3-year-old daughter has a better vocabulary than me nowadays. All right, and I'm just going to paint around the sides so his body's extended around the sides here. If you can paint, I'll paint underneath this area too when I'm done. And just, my head's kind of tilted to the side as I'm doing this. Now, his nose is going to be, like, we're going to be able to cover up that area. So I'm not overly worried about that. Okay, so we have his head. It was kind of like a cone shape, but so it indents at the top, but he's got kind of a little bit of a flat head here, just with a little curve at the top there and straight on the sides. And then his body's colored in gray. And then he's got his cutie little ears on each side there. All right. So his nose is actually a similar color to the trees. And I'm just going to go get my dog really quick. Hey, Radio. Radio, come here, bud. Come here, buddy. Hey, come here, bud. Come on down. You coming? Oh. My dog is so old. Anyways, okay, so I'm rinsing my brush and I'm going to color in his nose area. And I'm actually going to cover up a lot of the gray that I did there. And I'm using that same mixture of white and brown that I did before. So I'm going to take a little white and a little brown and mix it together there on my palette. Get it nice mixed up. And you don't need a whole lot of paint for this area. I'm just going to color it right in. Just color this whole thing in. And I'll show you, this is when you can kind of manipulate the shape of his nose. So I actually want it to be just a little bit pointier on the side. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to point it out a little bit more over there. And then same over here, just kind of extend it a little bit on each side. There we go. And we can do that because none of these colors are like crazy dark or hard to cover up. Everything's pretty easy to get to work with here. I'm just gonna keep going, and you know, it's one of those things, if you see some of the tree in the background, it's 100% cool to give it another coat later, but I'm just gonna go right over top. And mixing the white and brown together is a really good idea too, because the white, oh, a little drippy, the white is a very opaque color, so it really helps cover other things up. So when you mix white in with any colors that are a little bit more see-through, and there are certain colors that are way more see-through than others. So like purple or red, brown is a little bit see-through. When you mix it with white, it makes it a nice solid color. There we go. So I'm just going to give that 1 second to dry and let you guys catch up a little bit. Here, I'll get a little bit closer to my Moosie there. There you go. And try and save my dog. Radio, come on. Come on. So silly. So I hope this is working out for you guys. Let me know if you need me to go over anything. Happy to help. And if you're seeing any tree popping out from any areas, like I can see a little bit of my tree there, I'll just take my brush, grab a little extra paint, and just cruise along this area here. It's really easy to just do a second little coat of paint, and really helps just make it solid. And it's okay if there's a few little streakies in there, no worries. Mix this up. There. All right. Parfait, mes amis. Oui, oui. So many times in my life I have tried to paint a picture of Radio, my dog. Come on up, buddy. Because he's so dang cute. Check this guy out. Hey, Radio. You could have your own creature painting. What do you think? Can you see yourself? He can barely even see. He's 14, or he's going to be 14. So, look at you, man. And he has a grooming appointment next week that I'm really excited for, because I was pretty concerned that you weren't going to be able to get your hair cut for a long time. I always have this hilarious vision of my head that like how did Shih Tzus come into play? How could they ever survive on their own? Their hair would just grow and grow and grow until they were just these masses of hair. And like, and it, like a wild pack of Shih Tzu or like roam in the woods hunting, like it just seems so ridiculous to me. Like, how did this dog come into existence? Honestly. Okay, so once this guy's on, we are gonna make his little antlers coming out the side, and I do like to use my medium flat brush for this. Okay, oops, sorry. I like to use my medium flat brush. And I just kind of give her, so this is one of those things, if you want to draw it on first, I fully understand. But I feel like it's kind of fun to be brave and just go for it. So I say go for it. And it's a lot less complicated than it looks. So I have my medium flat brush here. I'm just going to grab some black paint. It's a little bit of black to start. Get it nice and build up. And we just make these like little nubbins coming out the side. So I'm going up so that my antler reaches up towards this corner here. And I put my brush straight right under his ear. And I just start by pulling out. And I make one little nubbin. And I bring that down to a point. So I go up and around. It's like kind of like a weird finger. Down to a point. Then from that point, I make one that's just a little bigger. So up and around, down to another point, and then I'm going to do one more. So I'll go up, and I'm going to bring it up and around. It's a little bigger. Okay. So they're kind of like little waves, even little. Well, thank you for that history lesson, Jim. Originally bred for Chinese royalty. Indeed, you can tell. They're very majestic, these little creatures. Little Shih Tzu creatures. Okay. Okay, so I started at his ear, went up, made one little nubbin. So when I did that, my brush is on its side. I pull up, and then when I'm making its little nub here, it gets fat so that I can pull down and it gets skinny again. And then I start again here, up and around, back, down, up and around, and back down. And then this last one here comes all the way around and back to the start. So it should get a little wider down here in this area. And then you can just fill that bad boy in. I always like to add a tiny little bit of water in with my black, just because it just helps fill stuff in. It helps move your brush along the canvas. I just tiny little dip in the water, then I dip it in my black paint, and then fill in those spaces. All right. Make your shoop shoop noise and you are good to go. So even down here, this can be extended just a little bit down here if you want. Mooses have those big old antlers, so it's okay if they're oversized. I feel like I'm being modest with these antlers because they are gigantic. And I have to say, that's one bucket list thing that I have not done yet, is I've never seen a moose in person. I have driven across this country several times and I've never seen a moose with my own eyes. I know, I'm sure if I spent a little bit more time up north I would, but I'm always like flabbergasted that I haven't seen any. I've seen a ton of bears. I've even seen a cougar. I've never seen a moose. Or an owl, actually. A moose or an owl, never seen with my own eyes. I've heard owls. I've heard of them being places, but I've never actually seen them with my own eyes. They're very sneaky, these creatures. So I'm literally going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And on my original painting, they are not the same size. The bottom one is actually, it's not quite a bit bigger, but it is bigger than the original, than this side here. Just work with what you got. It's okay. It's a cartoon character. It's okay if his antlers aren't exactly the same size. All right. But I'm just going to start from that spot right under his ear and make my first little nubbin. So pull up and over and down to a point. And then up and over, a little bigger, down to a point. And up and over, and last one. We try and fill in that space, you know? It's kind of cool to have the antlers doing their things right in the center there. Right around. Back to his ears. They are very not even. and I like it. So, just gonna fill this bad boy in. Get those antlers all filled in. Fill in the spaces. So I don't know if you guys saw my post the other day, but I'm very excited. Back in 2006, me and my friends, well, actually me and Jay, my husband, and our friend Pete had a band, and our name was Afro Suit Bike. It was the worst band name of all time. And when we recorded our CD, there were no iPhones. iPhones were brand new. iMacs were brand new. So everything was all brand new to us. There was no Spotify. There was no Apple Music. But Jay just went through all the motions and got our old CD up on Spotify and Apple Music and iTunes. So if you Google Afro Suit Bike, worst name ever, it's all one word, you can listen to our tunes. It was really nice, like, going back. I hadn't listened to it in years, and I have to say I'm pretty proud of it. So if you get a chance, if you're on any of those subscription services, check it out. Let me know what you think. It's pretty cool. That was 14 years ago that we recorded that CD, so good times are to be had. And it was really fun. When me and Jay were listening to it, we always used to like switch instruments, so it was kind of fun trying to remember who was playing what on each song. It's like, oh yeah, I was playing drums on that song. Oh yeah, I played bass on that song. Cool. Memories. So my antlers aren't perfectly on there. I can kind of see some dry spots, and it's just one of those things. I just fill in some of these areas. Sometimes there needs a little bit of loving around the edges. And that's something that you can fix up at any time, especially since we're going to be going into actually outlining this guy right now. It's not something that needs to be taken care of ASAP, but it's always nice to go back and give your creature a little extra loving. Give me all your loving, all your hugs and kisses too. Yeah. So I am now, I'm taking my long skinny brush, and you are going to be able to outline this moose with the medium flat brush that we just used. Okay, so that's going to be easy to go around these lines. As long as it's skinny, whenever I rinse my brush, I always take my fingers and I kind of give it a little, pull it together and flatten it out and make sure it can get nice and flat, get all that excess paint and water out of there. Just to start fresh, I just feel like it's just kind of a habit that I've created. I just take my brush and I squeeze it, and then I can go around these edges and outline my moose the best I can. But I am going to use my long skinny brush, and I do like to add a little extra water into my black just to do the outlines, because I find that when there's a little extra water in my black paint, it fills in those holes, those dry spots way easier. And you don't have to go over it a second time most of the time. So that's just a little tidbit for you. So if you add a tiny little bit of water into your paint, now you don't want it to drip down your canvas because we don't want to cry today. So I get it nice and full, but I just kind of, squeegee off, or you can pull off some of that excess water just on the side, just to make sure it's not going to go drippy drip down your canvas. And then I'm going to outline all the spots on my moose here. So I'm just going to start from right under his ear and go all the way around the edges. And you can see I put my pinky finger down just to give my hand some stability. All the way around. Putting my pinky down just makes sure my hand isn't all shaky. Trying to get to those spots that are like, it just makes me feel a lot more secure about my brush handling. So that's just something to keep in mind. If your paint is also dry, you can also just put your hand like straight on your canvas if that's a little bit easier, if you don't have the dexterity to put one finger down and do this. Or if you are insecure about outlining at all, just wait till your paint is dry and then you can outline it with a Sharpie, which is kind of cheating, but kind of not. You know, sometimes we just got to do what we got to do. All good. I really just like the idea of practicing, and this is all for practice, right? Like, this is something that we're going to get better at over time. The more you paint, the better you're going to get at it. So there's no point in, you know, we're not aiming for perfection here. We want to get better at this. He's got a couple little spots in his ears. So I just follow the basic shape of his ear, and then I cut it off down at the bottom. Here, so I'll just make like a little loop, follow that shape of his ear, and then make a line to finish it off. Color it in. Okay. All right. Someone's coming together. How exciting. Now, one thing to keep in mind too, sometimes like you can't always expect your brush to work for you. You can't just dip it in the paint and expect it to be perfect every time. Sometimes you have to manipulate it. Sometimes you got to push it around or pull it or twist it, you know. And that's what I just did. I just filled up my brush. So I go back to get some paint, fill it up, make sure that it's liquidy enough, give it a little twist, fill it up, you know. Every time you go back for some paint, just make sure your brush is in good shape. Go around the edge of his nosy here. Here, Moosie, Moosie, Moosie. Take my time. And I just try and go for as long as the paint will let me. Having that little extra bit of liquidiness in like the water in my paint allows my brush to go a little bit longer. It extends the life of the paint. Not only the paint itself, but the paint on the brush as well. But sometimes, like what's happening to me now, there might be a little bit too much water and it can make the paint a little bit see-through. So that's something to watch out for as well. There's like a delicate balance between water and paint. Around these edges. Yeah. Moosie, Moosie. And then you got to fill in his little sides of his body over here. And when you fill in the bottom and in the side here, make sure that if you extended him around the side, make sure you outline that side too. Unless you're on like a canvas board or a piece of paper or something, then it doesn't matter. Then you have no side to extend onto. So it's all good in that department. And now I'm just fixing up some of the edges on his nose. Making sure it's all even. As even as possible, you know. Just do the best you can. And I will start with 2 round eyes. So our creatures can be girls or boys. And I feel like the general consensus for cartoon creatures is that if the eyes have eyelashes, if you notice on any cartoons, if there's eyelashes, that means it's a girl. And if there's no eyelashes, it means it's a boy, which is so weird because everybody has eyelashes, but I guess girls take more time with their eyelashes to make them more voluptuous. So I'll start that. So he's a boy right now. Oh, and his eyes are kind of different sizes, and I really like that. I'm all about like different sized eyes. I think it's so cute when they're kind of wonky. And then his nose is, he's got 2 semicircles. So one there and one there for his little nostrils. And then just a tiny little grin. Meep. Aw, so cute. And just to make sure you know that he's furry, I'm going to put a little bit of chest hair down here. Even if it's a girl, girls can have chest hair too, right? Definitely some girls do. That's one thing I'm trying to teach my daughter right now, you know. So anybody can have anything or be anything or do anything. It's not gender-based at all. She keeps asking, girls do this and boys do this, right? I'm like, well, yeah, but it doesn't always work out that way. All right, so I just pulled down, it's just like a round lightning bolt for his hairy chest down there. There we go. And I'm just going back over, make sure his little hairs are in points, even though that's not very. Can even give him a little extra one right there. Ta-da! Yeah. Okay, well that's it. Now I am going to make him a girl now because I just want to show you how to do that. So this would be the boy moose. And then the girl has little eyelashes, so I'll just go right off the side of his eye to make it a her, and pull up, and make a couple little eyelashes. Make 3. Aww, and now it's a girl. I guess a good way to make a girl moose, you could make her pink. This area could be pink, so if that's something you wanted to change up, this would be really easy to paint over the brown area. And then what I would do next is just go around the sides and fix up the little edges and stuff. Give it a little extra loving around the edges, and you can always fix up your trees in the background. Put some leaves or, like I said, like a little squirrel, a bird, anything that you want can go in the background of this painting. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. And I feel like she needs just a little, like, just maybe like a little extra hair up here. I could give or take that. Anyways, that's what I'm saying. Everything's trial and error, and it really is your painting, so I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. I hope this made a whole lot of sense and that you enjoyed the process, and I hope that you're finishing it up right now as we speak. I can't wait to see how many girl and how many boy mooses come out of this. And I truly hope that you guys have a really great weekend. If you aren't on my email list, make sure that you go to my website, juliespaintparty.com, and get on my list, or send me an email and tell me that you want to be on my email list, because I am going to be sending out some really important information over the next few days that only my email list is going to receive at first. So get on that, friends. And I really hope you had a good time today. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. And have a lovely weekend. Enjoy this wonderful spring weather. Okay? Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. Have a good one. Mwah. Bye.